all, welcome back. It's Dominique here with you, and we are going to talk today about branding. We're going to talk about how to build a successful brand, and I just want to tell you up front that there is absolutely no one way to do it. There's nobody who is the consummate branding professional that has all of the answers, whereas nobody else has any of the answers. I mean, there are so many ways to do it. So what I'm going to try to do is to kind of stick to the basics, something that works for everybody, no matter what your brand is, whether it's a personal brand, whether it's a work brand, whether it is your baby, your business, whether you're just an entrepreneur doing it yourself. I'm going to try to give you some do's and don'ts that work really well for everybody in every field and every area of life. So, as some of you know, I should say, one of the facets of what I do as a coach and a consultant is helping people to build their brands. And guess what? I hire a branding company to do some of my branding work too, because it's great that you have your own ideas and you should be able to implement them, but it's also great to not be an echo chamber and to be able to get out of that echo chamber, step out of your comfort zone and of what you think everything should look like and get the advice of another professional. So even if you're in this field, you're not going to do it all yourself, at least not if you want to build a successful business or a successful brand. Of course, branding can apply if you're building just a personal brand. Maybe you're building a social media empire of some sort. You are an Instagram prince or princess, and you have a lot of work to do to build up those perfect sunset yoga on the beach shots and have them edited and posted, and to build your personal brand. And that's fine. Maybe you're a business, maybe you're an entrepreneur, and there are so many different kinds of branding. I really feel like in this day and age, even somebody who's not trying to build a brand, if you want to have reach of any kind on social media in life, you have to brand yourself. Now, let's talk very, very briefly about what branding should be and what it should not be. Branding is not being disingenuous. It's not, doing fake sets of, like I said, your sunset yoga pictures on the beach and, making it look like you live a life that you really don't live. It's not building a fake business brand that really isn't connected to who you are as a person. Branding has to be about who you are. Branding has to start with you. And if you're at the top of the food chain in your business, it's got to come from you and go down to everybody else. And it's important to have people on your team, whether you're working with consultants, whether you're working with independent contractors, whether you're working with employees. It's so important that everybody's on board and on the same page. So let's start with some do's and don'ts of branding. So, do's. We'll start with the do's. Do understand yourself. So many branding seminars and podcasts and articles and blog posts and yada yada, whatever, all of these branding resources out there tend to kind of drone on about the nuances of understanding your audience, your potential competing brands, the industry you're in, and so on and so forth. And that's really valuable information, but you can't do anything with it if you don't understand yourself first, right? So while that's all valuable information, it's really not where you need to start, guys. You start with understanding yourself. If the business owner and the business owner's vision is not clearly understood, I don't feel that the business can really thrive, nor can branding. My experience is that if it doesn't start with you, it certainly is going to end with you, and it's going to end quickly and probably not very well, okay? One thing that I see a lot of my business owner clients struggling with is that they've got a great product or great services, or maybe a combination of both. They have a really great thing going for them, but they don't know how to brand it. They don't know how to market it. They don't know how to get it out there and connect it with their audience. And let's be honest, we all struggle with that. No matter how good we are at branding, we all struggle with that as business owners. So I'm going to be real about that. That's a struggle that of the everyday variety that we all, battle with. But being able to overcome that and kind of battle through that struggle and sinking beneath it are two different things. And if you don't know how to brand and how to market and how to reach out to your audience, you are going to sink. It's going to be a failure to thrive situation. You've got this great product, this great service, but you're just not connecting with your audience. So it really is so important to be able to connect with your audience and to get that momentum going. Okay, so understanding the business itself has to come through understanding the person behind it. And even the person behind it themselves struggles from time to time with understanding themselves, understanding their goals, and understanding how they connect to their business. It happens, and if you can't admit that you're struggling with it, you are going to fail. I know that that's not what you want. I know that you're capable of more, so admit where your weak points are. If you are just not good at social media, if you are just not good at marketing or branding, maybe you're not great with people and you're kind of the mind behind the design, that's okay. But if you don't admit it and you build everything yourself, I'm really sorry to tell you, you're not going to do very well. And if you do, it may be sort of a fluke and you may have gotten lucky this time, but you've got to hire out some help next time. And if this is your forte, then congratulations, you're halfway there, but still get input from other people in the field. And I think it's really important too to reach out, not just to hire a professional, which is obviously important in and of itself, but to reach out to other business owners and other people in your industry to get peer input. Now, if somebody has a really tough competition going with you, maybe don't reach out to them, but certainly reach out to people you're friendly with in the industry and get their input. And of course, then you're building connections, and you'll be on their speed dial next time they want to reach out with a question about their business. So you're building a rapport. Never a bad thing, right? So another do is to understand your industry. Also, understand your competition, but don't obsess about it. Don't obsess about it. Understand your competition. Don't obsess about it, okay? So it's great to have a good understanding of who you're dealing with, of your competition, of the market, of what other businesses are doing. But obsessing about it and trying to undercut other businesses is never going to end well for you. So worry about yourself. Don't worry about other people. Be aware of what other people are doing that works. Use good ideas. Discard ones that don't work for you. There's always going to be some trial and error in this process, but certainly don't obsess about anybody else and what they're doing, because you're not running their business. You're running your business, aren't you? Right? So while that is absolutely true, it is also, like I said, a good idea to check out some of your competitors' websites. Check out some of their products. Decide on a color scheme for yourself that's not based on what anybody else is doing. Decide on a color scheme. Decide on business cards that go with the color scheme of your website. Decide on a font that works well for you. Make sure that your writing is top notch. If you're not a good writer, time to hire out. That is something I do. That is something my business does. So if you're looking for somebody to do some marketing writing or some writing for your social media posts, please feel free to contact me at my email or via the number below on this link, or in the description rather of this particular episode. So I'm here for you. There are many other people that do what I do. We stay in business for a reason. People need our help. What you're writing, how it looks, that's all really important. For instance, let's say that you have an orchid growing business. I'm sitting here looking at my orchids. I'm an orchid grower. So let's say you have an orchid growing business. You run a greenhouse. a hothouse for orchids. And let's say that your website features some really pretty purples and yellows and some really, really pretty sunset color orchids. And the writing on your website is, a really pretty script, and the background is a nice sunset yellow color, and your business cards are harsh black and blue, harsh font. This isn't matching up with your brand. Let's say your social media posts are really choppy, don't give a lot of detail. Maybe you just throw the link up there and that's all to your website. Again, that's not in keeping with the brand that you've built on your website. So you have to be consistent through your website, your business cards, your social media. Be consistent. It is so important to be consistent. Make sure that everybody who's doing work for you, whether it be on your website, your cards, whether it be on social media, other ads that you're having done, make sure that everyone is on the same page with this. It is so important. Like I said, engage in trial and error. This is a process that's going to be ongoing. It's not a win or lose thing. It is an ongoing process. You are going to be, hopefully, if you're doing your job right, you're going to be building your brand every single day. You're going to be marketing every single day. And it's going to be genuine and genuinely connect with who you are as a person, so that your personal insights and your personal posts and things are going to go hand in hand with what you're doing for a living, what products and services you're offering, and what your brand is, right? So, on that note, understand your audience. Are you marketing a product or service, for instance, to elderly French ladies? Perhaps you run a tea cozy making business. Perhaps you run a doily making business. Don't laugh. I'm sure there are really successful doily making businesses out there, right? I mean, there are niche businesses out there that no one would ever imagine would be successful. And because of great marketing strategy and great branding, they are successful. So let's say you run a business like the aforementioned ones. If so, ads, images, and wording that would apply to a Wall Street professional probably is not the way to go when marketing your doily making business or your tea cozy making business, right? So again, bringing us to our next point, find your niche. Find your niche. Your products or services might reach a wide range of people, and hey, if they do, that's great. However, everybody has a niche. For instance, my niche is young professionals making at least $60,000 a year and young couples who are acclimating to improved life and business circumstances. Pretty specific, right? I often work with people who are having trouble building their brands. On the business side and the personal consulting and psychotherapy side of things, I work with people who are struggling with problem personality types and often are dealing with people on the cluster B personality disorder spectrum and don't know it. And there are obviously some really specific tools to use for those of you who are dealing with those personality types. Everything you're trying is falling flat. So you come to me and I tell you, hey, you're dealing with a narcissist. You're dealing with a sociopath. If you can't remove yourself from this person's life, here are the tools you need. We're going to work on this together and make you successful. So this is I have a pretty good niche for the business side and a pretty good niche for the personal side of things. And the business and personal consulting sides of things in my business cross over. The same age group normally comes to me. Now, I do have a few clients in their 50s and 60s and even 70s, but for the most part, young professionals, young couples, often people who run a business together, that is oftentimes where they're coming into contact with these problem personality types. So the business and personal side of things overlap, right? So if you're offering different products and different services, you are going to find that they overlap, and you've got to understand where that overlap is. So for me, it would be in the age group. It would be in the income bracket. It would be the types of personalities that come to me. It's really interesting when you put yourself out there, people who match up with your personality are going to find you. I have a couple of clients who are a bit, forgive me, I'm certainly not going to name any names, and I have respect for all of my clients, absolutely, unequivocally. But I'm going to be real about it. I have a couple of clients who are on the stuffier side. I am more down to earth. I am more, outgoing. I'm somebody who tends to attract similar people to me. I'm a hard worker. I tend to attract hard workers to my business. So it's really important that you're expressing yourself and that who you are is matching up with your marketing. And like I said, that you're seeing the people that you're looking to attract coming in. If you're not, you need to adjust your branding and marketing strategy, okay? So, for instance, I told you a little bit about my business. I am not marketing to people who are not motivated to continue finding success in their personal or business lives. I'm just not. I don't market to excuse makers. I don't market to bargain hunters. I don't market to people who want to, go back and forth on what prices I'm offering. I'm offering fair prices. I'm offering fairly industry standard prices. If I find that a client is going to try to bargain and barter with me, that person isn't a good fit for me. So it's important to be able to understand not only what clients you're looking for, but what clients you aren't looking for. And it's also important, folks, to understand that firing clients is okay, and telling clients when you're maybe not the right business for them is okay. All right, so that's really important with brand building and marketing. It's just a really key piece to all of this, to this larger puzzle that is branding and marketing. So knowing this is really important. Knowing your niche is really important. Being genuine is really important. You may be a big company, you may be a smaller company, maybe you're looking to expand a little bit, or maybe you're just an entrepreneur. And maybe that works for you and you're not looking to expand or build size-wise. Maybe you're just looking to bring in more clients, more customers. If you have employees or work with contractors, I think it's really important that they be on the same page as you, like I mentioned before, regarding branding goals for your business or your entrepreneurial, personal business. And it's important that they be on the same page in regards to what your company brand or your personal brand is and what it's trying to accomplish and the tone of it as well. I think it's also important to secure a premises, obviously. If you're a brick and mortar business, great. If you're an internet business, great. If you are a brick and mortar business, it is really important that your brick and mortar business is physically resembling the style and vibe that you're going for with marketing and branding. If, for example, you're marketing, let's say, to a really high-end, you've got a really high-end product or service, you're marketing to like upper income professionals. You don't want an office in a rundown area that's falling apart or that's appointed like an old lady is working there, right? Or an old man is working there. Same goes for your website. If you're whether you have a brick and mortar business or whether you're just working online, it's got to reflect what you're trying to accomplish at every turn. This means, again, folks, so important. This is a struggle with some of my clients. They feel like they can just bang something out and, well, my service is good. People will come to me. It doesn't really matter what my brand is. Nope. Try again. Sorry. Incorrect. Negativo. And it's really hard to get folks like that to understand that branding, unfortunately, for better or worse, I should say, is everything today. This means being mindful of colors, images, fonts, content, and other design components. All right, moving on to another do. Your word. Oh my goodness, is this a big one? Your word is bond. Not coming through on things you've said that you're going to do is not okay. Now, if you're just overwhelmed with clients, you need some extra help, maybe it's time to think about consulting with somebody about getting some independent contractors to work with you. Maybe it's time to hire out with another business. Maybe it's time to hire some employees. But not doing what you've said you're going to do is not okay. If you're finding it hard on a regular basis to follow through, running a business might not be for you. Maintaining a brand of any kind might not be for you. Our final do is remember that success is a marathon, not a race, not a track meet, as Ice Cube would say. You will never reach an ultimate finish line, though it's important to keep track of your milestones along the way. Right? Life ain't a track meet, it's a marathon. Same goes for business, same goes for your personal brand. It is a marathon. You do need to keep track of your goals along the way, but there is no finish line. You're never going to reach a destination called success where you break through, the finish line tape and there are streamers and a party is thrown in your honor and a big band is broken out and everybody claps you on the back. That doesn't happen. And I feel that a lot of business owners go into this, and anybody who's looking to build a brand, people go into this thinking that they're going to reach some ultimate goal called success. And at that time, everybody will realize how relevant they are in life and will congratulate them with pats on the back and many, many libations bought for them free of charge. That's just not how it happens. Not how it happens. So keep this in mind. You're going to have to buckle down and work hard every single day. Folks, if you're building a brand, that likely means you run a business or you're looking to capitalize on some sort of personal service or product that you're putting out there, whether it be yourself, whether it be something you're making or something you're offering. If you are doing this, it is going to happen in life that when you are on a break, when you are on a vacation, you're going to actually have to work. There are going to be times when you work long days, long hours. There are going to be times when you're not able to do things that you want to do unrelated to business because business comes first, because you've got to make that income. You've got to pay your car note, your house bill every month, whether you're renting or whether you've got a mortgage. These are things you've got to consider before you even begin to build your brand. Now, I'm not saying that you're never going to get time off, certainly, and I'm not going to say that you're going to, be going through a lifetime of drudgery. I think it's actually much more rewarding than working a 9-to-5 job for somebody else where you're building someone else's brand and putting money into someone else's pocket. I think it's absolutely wonderful. But I also think that there are certain personalities which are suited to building a brand or running a business, whereas others are not. If you find that you're not a very social person, again, like I said, hire somebody out. If you're not good at social media, you don't like talking about yourself, hire a writer, hire an SEO scribe, hire somebody that will be writing your posts and either publishing them or handing in copy for you to publish. It's that simple. If you're somebody who is a little on the cranky side, you don't like dealing with people, then for God's sake, by all means, do not deal with people. Hire somebody to do that. If you can avoid dealing with people, great. If that's the kind of person you are, I can guarantee you that you will put people off. I ran into a business owner recently. I will never forget this encounter. Never in my life will I forget this encounter. This individual was so flustered by a minor question that I asked that he began screaming in my face, threatened me physically, threatened to sue me, and told me that he was essentially going to take my money even though he did not deliver what I had asked for and did not answer my simple question at all. And of course threatened to sue me, as I said, and physically harm me because I asked it. Now, this was not a major deal. This did not need to blow up into a big to-do. But because this individual was a surly person who doesn't like dealing with people and preferred to bully his way through life rather than come to an agreement with folks, because he actually told me when I was dealing with him, he flat out told me, and folks, this is another interesting tidbit that applies, I think, to branding and to life. If somebody tells you what kind of person they are, believe them. That's a Maya Angelou quote. When somebody tells you who they are, believe them. Because this gentleman actually came out and told me up front, he said, basically he said, I have this chip on my shoulder in life. I feel that everybody looks down on me. Everybody thinks they're smarter than me. And that's why I hate clients and customers. I thought, wow, does this guy not know how to run a business? And is this guy in the wrong industry? This guy should be in a back room somewhere doing accounting or God knows what, anything other than dealing with customers. So obviously this is an experience that I will remember for a lifetime. I've never been physically threatened or felt that I may have needed to physically defend myself because I asked somebody a minor question. So if you're that type of person, first of all, don't be building a brand. You don't belong in this world. You need to find another niche for you. Go, be a writer, do something where you're not dealing with people, do something productive and fulfilling for you where you're not going to deal with people and possibly cause people harm. Now that's a whole nother side of things right there. If you're that surly or that mean-spirited, or if you just hate people, you should not be doing this. And if you're not bringing a product or service that is important, that is meaningful, and that is going to be your best work into this world, then you don't belong in this industry. You don't need to be building a brand. Maybe you can be doing some behind the scenes work. Maybe, like I said, you can crunch numbers, you can do some computer work, maybe you're a good writer. But if it comes to dealing with people and you're really bad at it, or if it comes to presenting a product or service and you're just not giving your all, this is not the place for you. So, like I said, know your strengths, know your weaknesses. Hire people to help you when you know that you have a weakness. If you know you're bad at dealing with people, hire people to help you with that. You may have to put out some money up front, but I can promise you that if you do the work you need to do, you will make money and you will come away with satisfied clients and customers. But it's important to play to your strengths and recognize your weaknesses and recognize where you may need help. So don't be this guy. Don't be the guy at the sign shop where I got my signs printed up. Certainly you don't need to feel as if the customer is always right. I know that that's an issue once you've started marketing your brand and getting your stuff out there. That can be an issue. Maybe somebody isn't happy with something you've put out there. Maybe somebody expected something other than what you gave them. Now, you don't need to say, well, the customer's always right and just bend over backwards. But at the same time, you need to apologize. Even if you don't feel you've done anything wrong, you need to be respectful and you need to find a solution that works for both of you. So before you start branding, think about that. If you're not capable of doing that, or if any slight is going to offend you and you're going to get defensive about it, then again, maybe branding, and marketing in the background for somebody else is a good idea, but maybe putting your brand out there is not the best idea for you at this time. So strengths and weaknesses are very important. Moving on to don'ts. Don't undercut yourself, folks. This is such a huge, huge deal. Don't undercut yourself. I can't tell you how many businesses come to me and tell me that they just know they're going to do super duper well because they charge $100 or $500 or $1,000 or what have you less on any given project than someone else does or than their competition does. I often hear things like, well, we're just starting out. It wouldn't be fair to charge industry standard. Well, here's my question on that. Why? Why wouldn't it be fair to charge industry standard? You're in this industry. You are providing comparable services or selling comparable products. Why would it not be fair to charge industry standard? If you're really uncomfortable with charging a higher price, find out what your industry standard is and charge exactly that. Move up from there. It's just like renting out property. Start at the standard rate, get some good reviews, and then move up from there, right? It's not rocket science, but don't undercut yourself. Don't undercut yourself. If you do charge a lower price, my feeling is this. People are either going to come through thinking that you don't believe in your product or service, or they're going to feel like they can come in and bargain and barter and go back and forth and maybe strong arm you into doing something that you're not comfortable with because they can tell that you don't fully believe in your product or service. So why would you do that to yourself? Don't create that headache. Please save yourself a headache. Don't do this. Do you think that your competitors did this when they first started out? Absolutely not. So don't do this to yourself. Undercutting yourself leads to businesses and individual customers not respecting what you do and not respecting the value of your products and services. And again, like I just touched on, undercutting yourself can also kind of lead to taking on clients who wouldn't normally come to you. And you don't want that. Many people come to me saying, oh, that's great. I'll be able to open up the market a little bit. Well, no, you have a niche client base for a reason. If you are taking clients right now of a certain, income bracket, you're taking them because they can afford to pay for your services or your product. If you open up the door to a lower income clientele, not that we don't all want to help lower income folks when we can, there are other ways to do that other than undercutting yourself though. But if you're opening the door to lower income clients or customers, then you are opening the door to bartering and bargaining and folks saying that they're not happy with what they got and they want a refund, and you don't need that headache. There really are other ways to cater to lower income people and to help lower income people than to undercut yourself. Unless you want to join them in being lower income, don't do that. I'm not saying don't help them in other ways. I am not saying don't work with them, through volunteerism and through helping them to find products and services that fit their income bracket. What I am saying is do not lower your prices. Do not undercut yourself, and do not make concessions and allowances that you don't feel comfortable making. Okay? Certainly not suggesting that you shouldn't help people when they're in need, but don't do it at your expense. And don't make a habit of it if you're not comfortable doing whatever it is that you're doing. So take clients that you want to take. Take clients that can afford to pay for your services. That's what you need to do for yourself. And for your own sanity, really, among other things. Undercutting yourself almost always leads to that dreaded barter relationship or the client who wants to bargain with you. And that's just really, again, that's not okay. That's a client or a customer who doesn't respect what you do, doesn't respect your services, doesn't respect your product, and frankly doesn't respect you, may not even respect themselves. So why do you want to work with that person? You don't. I mean, there are a lot of folks in higher income brackets that do that. And if I find that a client is squabbling about pricing up front when I charge a fair industry standard price, I say no thank you. I just don't feel that I'm a good fit for you. Best of luck to you. I'm not going to send that client somewhere else if I have a good relationship with that business. I'm not going to send them a problem client, but I will tell them, my brand is not meeting up with your needs. So if it's okay when you're building your brand, when you're marketing, when you're building your brand, it's okay to tell people, no thanks, I don't think we're going to work well together. They'll respect that a lot more than they will if, halfway through the project, you get cold feet or you decide you can't give them what they want for what they're paying you. And if they don't respect that, why would you want to work with somebody who doesn't respect what you're doing and doesn't respect your time and your energy? Better to know that up front and just say no thanks. So, again, don't price yourself out of the market and don't undercut yourself. Okay, so let's talk about overcharging really briefly is another don't. In fact, our final don't. Being predatory is not a good look for anybody. It's not a good look. It says, I don't respect myself, I don't respect my products or my services, and I don't respect my clients. It's the same as undercutting yourself. High price doesn't always mean high quality, right? So again, I'm not talking about charging industry standard or charging a little bit more for a great product or service. What I'm talking about is predatory overcharging. For instance, I consulted with a business about, I'm not going to say exactly what, just let's say that they were going to assist me with branding recently. Their prices were so ridiculously high that no small business could afford them. The receipts that they were trying to send me as to what, or rather the estimate receipts were being sent to me without any specific information about why their price was that high. Their branding expert who met with me gave me so many ideas, I couldn't even remember what the person had initially said when we sat down and met. They immediately brought politics into the discussion and had kind of went on a rant about people that they felt bigoted towards. Totally unprofessional. So, what I'm saying is the fact that they overcharged was clearly symptomatic of some other moral and personal issues. So if you're dealing with a business that is chronically overcharging, that can't explain why they're charging what they're charging, don't do it. And please don't be that business yourself. Don't be that brand yourself that chronically overcharges, can't tell people why they're being charged, what they're being charged, and what you're doing for them, because that is predatory, and that is certainly, I think, worse than undercharging. You are being a predator. You are trying to get what you can from people who may not understand the industry that you're in, and that's not okay. You need to have compassion as a business owner, and you need to have compassion if you're building any kind of a brand. If you can't be compassionate, maybe this is not the industry for you or the place for you. So being predatory does not work. And wow, you might get a couple of clients who want to pay that $20,000 for the website design for a small business, or might want to pay $20,000 or $30,000 for some basic branding consulting for your small business. Whatever you're offering. Maybe somebody wants to pay you $50,000 a month to do business consulting for them, right? Maybe you'll get one or two of those people. You'll miss out on all of the other clients, though, that would come to you. And you are going to end up with people questioning why you're charging that much at some point, and when you can't explain it, you're going to get into trouble. You could even get into some legal trouble. In fact, you probably will. So don't overcharge or overprice things. Also, I am going to add another don't, which falls within the category of being compassionate with building your brand and building your business. You really need to be able to have compassion with people without accepting excuses. For instance, if a client is coming to you and says they're going to pay late or what have you, if that's not okay with you, you can't accept that. If you have standard late fees or something like that, you need to enforce those, no matter what the client's story may be. I say aside from, death or illness, you kind of got to make sure that you're enforcing these things. So it's good to be compassionate while still maintaining your boundaries. And it's certainly good to be honest about the services and products you're offering. If somebody comes to you and is looking for some branding expertise in, I don't know, the IT profession or some kind of profession that maybe doesn't normally do a lot of branding work, and you're consulting with them on this, and let's say you don't know a lot about IT, it's okay to just say, you know what, this isn't my forte, and I'm really sorry, but I can't help you with this, but I do know somebody who can, and then give a great recommendation of another business or professional that you would normally work with on this matter. So it's fine to say, you know what, I don't know how to do this, or I don't think I can provide what you're looking for. And before I wrap this up, I'm just going to say one more time, be genuine. Don't market something you can't provide. Don't market, if you're doing personal branding, don't market yourself as someone or something you're not. People will find out eventually if that's not who or what you are. And it just doesn't feel right, I'm sure, to be disingenuous. So be genuine. I'm sure you have a lot of really great points. You don't need to be photoshopping your pictures to where they don't look like you. You don't need to be, offering a brand that looks really great but isn't representative of who you are or what your business is. So be genuine. Put yourself out there. There are people out there that are not going to like your brand. Get used to it. You're not going to be able to please everybody, but you are going to be able to please the people that are right for you. So I will leave you with that. I hope that this has helped. I know there's a lot of conflicting advice and information out there regarding branding, and I just wanted to provide some that would kind of, like I said, reach any industry, no matter what you're branding, whether it's yourself, your business, what have you. I think this kind of applies to everything. So I hope that this has helped. I hope that this has been, of interest to you. And if you have anything that you would like to add, please feel free and join the discussion. Feel free to bring up anything that you feel really works for you. All right, folks, so you have this information at your disposal. Best of luck to you. And if you would like to hire me as a professional, you have my information right here. But I do suggest that you at least consult with peers. If you aren't ready to hire a professional, consult with peers, get other people's input. Don't be in an echo chamber. And you know what? Be positive and be genuine, and your brand will work for you. Have a wonderful day, and best of luck.